Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls 3 walkthrough, Indiana Jones style. In the last episode we got a undead bone shard from the Cathedral of the Deep, so make sure you use it. And we're going to start initiating some NPC quest lines. This one right here is Cyrus. Make sure you exhaust all our dialogue. You'll get the Dark Moon loyalty gesture. Make sure you get that gesture. If you don't get it, reload. Now, let's go ahead and pop some souls. Now, I'm not into sorcery, but if you're a completionist and you want to make sure you get all the items, Yule is going to die. This is the guy that we saved from the undead settlement. He's going to die upon completion of his quest, so we want to make sure we buy everything off of him before he dies. Now, bear in mind, Yule will die after you kill the Abyss Watchers, so if you don't do this quest where he gives you 5 free levels before the Abyss Watcher's death, you won't be able to do it. Now we want to draw out our true strength. Now, as you can see, we don't have a hollowing statistic yet, but we will soon. We're going to get the Dark Sigil. This is going to make us hollow. Now, we do have the Prisoner's Chain equipped, so it said that we had 30 vigor, but we really just have 25. So we want to get our vigor to 29. We're going to use one of our free levels. We're going to get 5 free levels from Yule. We want to use one of them in Faith to get up to 9. This will allow us to use the Demon Fist when we get it. Now, whatever souls that you have left over, make sure you spend them all, because we're going to kill ourselves 15 times in order to get 15 hollowing, which is what we need to get 5 levels from Yule. So what I do is I just buy... We're trying to get as many bolts for the DLC as possible, so just burn all your souls on bolts. At least that's what I'm going to do. Now we want to go to the bonfire and warp to the first bonfire that we ever unlocked, which is the Cemetery of Ash. And we're just going to throw ourselves off the cliff 15 times. If you lose track, you can always just keep track of the counter. The hollowing counter, which will appear after you kill yourself. You can periodically check it, or just keep count. But we're going to check it here. We are at 1 hollowing. We need to get to 15 hollowing, and I'm going to do a quick edit here as I am at 15 hollowing. Your face will look very ugly now because you're hollow again. And unfortunately, we're going to stay hollow the rest of the game. No more pretty Indiana Jones face. Well, I didn't even make an Indiana Jones face, but you're not going to be looking pretty. Now, we want to make sure we go ahead and level up everything we want to level up with Yule. You don't have to keep going back and forth now. You just talk to him and get all your levels done. We're going to put everything else into vigor. We want to get up to 29. And once you get all of your levels done, he won't level you up anymore. And then you need to reload the area to make Uriah appear behind him. He will die once you reload the area. Now, once he says that you have attained ample strength, that's it. You're done. You can't do anything else with him. But make sure you talk to him to get a gesture. The beckon gesture. And we're just going to go back and reload the area. And this will begin a very long, drawn-out, complicated side quest for Uriah, which will result in the best ending. Just reload Firelink. Now, I did say that we're not going to do every NPC quest, and that's true because you can't really do all of them in one playthrough unless you do some convoluted stuff, which I might look into, but the main thing is to beat Dark Souls using this build, but it can be quite complicated. And Uriah has something that you can't get from anybody else, and that is a tome. So if you want all the miracles, you're going to have to get this tome right here, the Londor Divine Tome here. You can't get it from any other source. So now we can get it eventually. Now, we're going to continue Orbak's quest by giving him some scrolls. So we got to go to the Farron Keep area. We have to do all of these things before killing the Abyss Watchers, because after killing the Abyss Watchers, so many things become unattainable. And Orbak's quest is one of them, if you've talked to him before. As I mentioned in my last video, I killed the Abyss Watchers but never talked to Orbak, and I was still able to do his quest. But once you talk to him that first time and make that promise, if you kill the Abyss Watchers without giving him a scroll, he will disappear from the game forever for that playthrough. So we've already talked to him, so we have to get the scrolls now, before killing the Abyss Watchers. So what I like to do is come to this bonfire, because it's just easier to get to the next bonfire. And make sure you have the ability to use your knife, and have the weapon art available. So you're going to have one slot blank like that on the left. But what you want to do is walk. As you come down the ladder, you want to come this way until you find a ramp. It's very close by. And this will lead to the main bonfire of this area. The Farron Keep bonfire. We'll be going back and forth between this one to get everything, because it's just a central. It's just easier to find everything. If you want to get invaded by an NPC, you can also pop an EMBER here. We're not going to bother with him. Anyway, so there's the door in front of you that leads to the boss. However, we're not going there yet because we have to open the door first. But let's go to the right first, because the first scroll we want to get is on the right. Now, take care. There are some basilisks here that will curse you, in addition to some other enemies. You just have your knife ready. They're very weak to fire, so pretty much everything in here is weak to fire. So just quickly take them out and try not to get cursed. We could just run and get the items. There's also an armor set in here, but the golden scroll is what you really want. But in here is an armor set. We're just going to warp right back to the bonfire to get the next one. It's just easier this way. And instead of going right this time, we're going to go left. Now, if you stay to the far right as you go left, you'll run into a giant crab, which will give you an item, but the giant will be firing arrows to help you out if you've befriended him. But right here, we're just going to stick left, and we're not going to deal with the crab right now. Also, if you pick up the rest of the white branches, that will initiate the giant's death. And that's the only way to get the Hawk Ring. So, right here is the scroll. But there's quite a few little enemies here. I forget what they're called. I wanted to be able to showcase the kicking ring here. That would have been a great time to do it. We'll use it plenty enough, though. Once we get the scroll, we're just going to go back again. Now we're going to initiate the process for opening the door to the boss. So we need to go to the Farron Keep bonfire. Or actually, no, before we do that, we're going to go hand the scrolls to Orbak first. Then we're going to unlock the door. Once you hand Orbak even one scroll, he will never leave Firelink. So you're good to go. But he'll be happy you kept your promise, and he'll stay. So now it's time to unlock the gate to the Abyss Watchers. And also talk to Henri of Astora and exhaust her dialogue, or his, depending on your gender. This will initiate the rest of her quest. his or her quest, and she'll appear in the catacombs next, which is what you want. Now we go into the Farron Keep bonfire to unlock the doors. Now I recommend having Arbalest out for this section because you're going to have the Elder Grooves, those big giant things with the trees in their hand, and spells with those skulls. The thing that we killed to get the hat, they're going to be in this area as well. So I found that the Arbalest takes them out rather quickly and safely from a distance. We're going to put the Prisoner's Chain back on. Give us a little more extra resistances as well. Now you want to stick to the right here and follow the fire. The fire will lead you to the next section. Really the hardest one to find is the last one, but I'll show you guys how to find it easily. Usually these torch bowl torches, or whatever they're called, are guarded heavily by these grooves, the ones that like to jump on top of your head. Again, we're just going to use the fire. And snuff out this flame for your first of 3. For the next one, you just want to continue through this gate in a linear fashion here. We're going to go this way. So the path leading down on the left as you enter the area there. And you'll see the next flame leading you to your next spot. Just follow the fire. Again, these grooves are not to mess with. They're pretty powerful. They'll try to jump on your head, and they'll shake your head violently left to right, and then they'll get a buff. So just kill them as fast as you can. But the next area is very close by. It's right here, so they can also poison you with their knives. But you're going to probably be poisoned anyway from the swamp, so it really doesn't matter. And number 2 flame is snuffed out here. And for the third one, and this is the more difficult one to find usually, we're going to backtrack a little bit, just down this area we came from, and we're going to pan the camera to find the next one. So you're going to stop right here and just turn a little bit until you can see the flame off in the distance right there. And just follow it all the way. Now there's going to be an Elder Groove nearby. He is a pain in the ass to deal with, so make sure you deal with... There's 2 of them, and one of them kind of surprised me, so I kind of got hurt a little bit by one of them. Probably could have used the whip here. Take them out quicker. Stick to the left. The far left of the area. Try to fight these things on ground if you can. It's just a lot easier. And here's the first Elder Groove here. And again, like I say, it's just easier to use the Arbalest to take them out quick. And he's done. This is what you're looking for, a path going up. But be careful, there's another Elder Groove right here, and he surprised me. Had a little pain with this one, I had a little trouble. I ran out of my big bolts. Couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. It's like, oh, my big bolts are done. I had actually used very few of my sniper bolts, which are still a good alternative to the heavy bolts. So these weak bolts don't take it out as fast. And we got it. It's one of the more annoying enemies in the game, I must say. But once those two are dead, you can get the last flame snuffed out. And the door will open. Now we can just warp back to the Farron Keep bonfire. And the door will be right ahead of us. But before we go through the door, we want to unlock a shortcut. Because if we die from the boss, we want to just make it very quick. Although it's not that far, even if from the Farron Keep bonfire. Or not Farron Keep, the Farron Ruins bonfire. The Keep Ruins. But we're also going to get a couple more items. We're going to get some more scales. And I think a spell. And we're going to unlock a shortcut. And in addition, we're going to open up an area that leads to the shortcut. Back where the Black Knight was when we got the Farron coal. It basically just connects to the area. There's not much items that are worthy of note in here. The stone that allows you to respec your infusion weapons, the Shriving Stone. We are going to use it to respec our flame knife, our bandit knife. We're going to make it a chaos knife eventually. Now try not to charge too quickly because these dark wraiths are not fun to deal with. But you do want to head to the right here to unlock the shortcut and the bonfire. So we're very close to the boss now. We're going to make short work of the Abyss Watchers though, because our whip is just too good for them. So what you want to do is just keep killing these enemies until you get to the far end. And there's another, I forget what they're called, those big lizards that drop the scales. Just want to go ahead and take that out. Because in addition to the Demon Fist, which we already have enough to upgrade with the scales, we're going to do Rose of Ariandel anyway, just because it's part of the Whip family. And eventually, for farming purposes, you want to get the Shield of Want. The shield from Dark Souls 2, because it gives you extra souls as you're farming. Of course, we're not going to use it as a shield, but if we're farming, we definitely want to have that to get extra souls. And that takes Titanite scales as well. So before we go to the boss, let's go back to Firelink. We got to do some Firelink maintenance things that we forgot to do before. We forgot to infuse our cestus to a blessed cestus, and we forgot to give the ashes, the paladin ashes, to the maiden. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to go kill the boss. So blessed cestus, please. This will give us a constant health regeneration, although very slow, but we can accelerate the process later when we get the Sun Princess ring after killing Aldridge. But we're going to make it a blessed cestus plus 6, and the higher we go with our upgrades for the cestus, the scaling will improve, so we'll get an S scaling in the cestus once we get it to plus 10. We don't need any fire weapons for this boss. We could use some fire damage resistance, though, if you want to. We're going to go with the sword, Lloyd's Sword ring, because we're going to get extra damage. And let's go ahead and give those ashes to the maiden. The paladin ashes that we got just before the Cathedral of the Deep. This will allow us to get the shield ring, the Lloyd's Shield ring. Same effect as the blue Tearstone ring, except you'll be at full health for it to be effective. Now we're ready to take on the Abyss Watchers. Now I like to use my whip exclusively for the boss, but I like to infuse it with human pine resin. I got a couple here. I'm just going to buy one more off the Handmaiden, just because. She only sells a few anyway. Patches sells an unlimited amount, but I'm just going to go ahead and buy one off of her. The boss seems to be pretty weak to it, so in addition to the sword ring, if we're at full health, we'll be doing extra damage, and on top of that, we'll be doing dark damage to the boss as well. So it'll be a short-lived fight. If you want, you can put some fire damage protection on you, like the fire ring, or eat some red bug pellets, but the boss is easy because we're overpowered. We're not supposed to be this leveled up at this stage of the game, so this boss will not give us any kind of problems. We can take hits galore and still kill it. So on the way to the boss, however, there's some annoying enemies that like to chase you all the way, and even into the boss room. Sometimes they can give you a hit after you've entered the boss arena, so I like to kill them. Mainly, it's this one here. There's 3 enemies I like to kill. That's the first guy. This guy by the tree that's guarding the EMBER. And there's another one to the right of the door that will just kind of give you some trouble as you're entering the arena. So I just like to dispose of them. And the last one's over here. They like to sneak up on you as you just run to the door. He's just waiting for you here, flanking you. Now we'll have no resistance going to the door, but don't waste too much time because those dark wraiths who are killing all the other grooves are on their way up the path, and they can see you. I like to buff my whip before entering. Now, the best way to attack the Abyss Watchers in the first form is just to wait until he slams his sword into the ground, which I didn't do. I kind of messed this fight up a little bit. But if you wait until he either charges or does his slam attack, he's open to an attack. And with the whip, you can at least hit him twice. But don't get too greedy. Like, there's a slam. I should have waited for that slam right there. Anytime he does that slam or a charge attack. And if you're having trouble, just back up and wait for the other guys to join the fray. And while they're distracted, you can just take them all out with the whip, which is what I'm going to do right here. See, they're distracted, and you can just take them out really quick. And that's it. For the second phase, it's easy. You just wait for him to do his jumping slam attack, and he's going to be open to at least a couple of whip shots. But it's best to wait for the charge move, and just don't get greedy with your hits. But like I said, at this stage of the game, if you've been following this walkthrough, you're going to be doing so much damage to the boss, it really doesn't matter if you take a few shots here and there. And he's got good range on his fire sword there. So you can actually go for a third hit sometimes. I just try not to get too greedy. But with the whip, as you can see, it's very effective at this stage. Because we don't have to get close to the boss. We can stay a relatively safe distance away and still do damage. Here's the attack you want to wait for, that one. You can always get a hit in. At least 2 hits in on that after he does that charge or the slam attack. And that's it. The first Lord of Cinder has fallen. Now that the Abyss Watchers are dead, we want to go back to the Untended Graves and get the Hornet Ring before entering the Catacombs. And we're going to go to Firelink and get a ring that will be given to us after we kill the Abyss Watchers. So after you kill the Abyss Watchers, there's some items that are available to you. But the first one you definitely want to go for is the Hornet Ring. Not as good as it was in Dark Souls 1, but it still gives you about 30% on your critical hits, which is pretty good still. You don't have to fight the Black Knights. I'm not going to fight them. Just run past them, get your sword fragment out and ready to warp as soon as you get the ring and get out of here. Now for the rest of the episode, we're going to go into the Catacombs and we're going to get to the beginning of the Smouldering Lake. But we're not going to do the Smouldering Lake in this episode. It'd just be too long of an episode. We'll do that in the next episode. But once we beat the Smouldering Lake and the Demon Ruins, and we kill a few more bosses, then we're going to go... We're going to start the Boreal Valley, Irithyll, but we're not going to complete it. We're just going to get the ashes, the excrement ashes, and then we're going into the DLC after that. We want the excrement ashes most definitely, though, because we'll be able to cure toxic, and we're definitely going to need to be able to do that. Now, you want to talk to this guy to get the ring. Now, he has a lot of dialogue if you hadn't talked to him yet, and he'll give you also a heavy gem. Just keep talking to him until you get everything you want. The gem and the ring.
The unsworn joys gained in sea the pipe, gaining it even there. You oft say that. I put it. For help.
There it is. What that ring does is it gives you more usage of your mana bar, but that also includes using weapon arts. Yeah, I think it uses a quarter less than what it usually does. Alright guys, before we go into the catacombs, we're going to level up an additional time. We don't have enough souls from beating the Abyss Watchers to level up, so we have to pop a few souls, and then we're going to get our vigor to 30. It's important to get your vigor to at least 30 before entering the Ashes of Ariandel and the Ringed City DLC, which we are going into as soon as we beat, when we get the excrement ashes from Irithyll, then we're going into the DLC. But now it's the catacombs. Now the catacombs is going to be easier for us because we don't have to kill the skeletons multiple times because we have a blessed weapon. If the skeleton's eyes are white, that means they're going to respawn at least once. It's not like Dark Souls 1 where you have to kill them until the necromancer's dead. Now we're going to put on the horse hoof ring, and I'm going to demonstrate how it can be useful. However, you have to be good at kicking, and kicking in this game is a little iffy. However, if you can pull a kick off with ease in this game, if you have a shielded enemy in your way and you're having trouble dealing with them, give them one kick with that ring on and they're going to be open to a riposte every time. Don't matter what kind of shield they have. This is our first skeleton that will respawn, so we're just going to do a charged up straight with our Blessed Cestus to take it out. Now that's Carthus Rouge right there. That will allow you to add bleed to your weapon. Now, this is the first demonstration of the horsehoof ring. Now this guy's got the Carthus milk ring, which is why we can't see him when he rolls. So if you're having trouble with a shielded enemy like this, just give them one good kick and they'll open to riposte every time. All it takes is one kick. And if you have like a really good critical hit weapon like the bandit knife, you'll do even more damage. But in our case, the Chaos Blade's good enough. Now these guys do not respawn because their eyes are not glowing white. So we can just whip these guys and make them a lot easier. Now we went left so we could talk to Anre of Astora and continue her quest line. And there's a pyromancy tome this way as well. Now be wary, there's going to be a decapitated skeleton that comes behind you here. There he is. But he's not going to be hard to take out with the whip. He doesn't respawn either. Now you want to make your way down here, down these flight of stairs here. You're going to have some more skeletons spawn, but they don't have the white eyes, so you don't have to worry about them respawning. But you also have these two big dudes that are going to be a problem for you as well. Don't advance too far down the stairs so you don't gain their aggro as well. They're easily whipped. Now these guys, they don't have shields, so we're not really going to be kicking them. However, you can just use your whip here and get a few shots in. I recommend double-handing the whip to take these guys out. They do bleed with their Carthus curved swords. You gotta be careful. Now once they're dead, you want to make your way down here. We're looking for Anre. Grab some Titanite shards here. And then right here, there can be some more skeletons that spawn, but you can spawn kill them as they're assembling themselves here. One shot. Now just make your way around the corner and Anre will be waiting for you. Exhaust her dialogue. Say, you only have one option to say no.
Oh, have you seen my show forgotten? Yes, I see. Oh, always. We keep track of every time we like kill something or
Now, there's a crystal lizard here, right off to the left. If he sees you and he runs off, you're still going to get the item, so you don't really have to kill him anyway. Some more Twinkling Titanite. Now that we've done all that, we want to find the Pyromancy Tome. Now we want to go down this hallway right here. Now this enemy here, we want to take him out. He has a kukri. It's like a throwing dagger that he'll throw when he jumps up in the air. It's kind of annoying to deal with. It also does bleed. You can pelt him with some bolts as you're backpedaling. But if you hit him with the whip once, it's usually going to be a kill because you can just follow up with more whip strikes like that. It stuns them. The good thing about the whip is it stuns enemies. And can stun bosses. Sharp gem right there. Now stick to this wall right here, and there's an illusionary wall right there. Now this guy will spawn at least one more time, so we're going to just punch him to death. And the Pyromancy Tome is right here. Now we want to go back to the beginning of the area. So our next objective is to get an undead bone shard, but it's kind of cryptic. You have to kill a specific skeleton with a hat. And once you do that, the ball of skeletons will crash into the wall and reveal the bone shard. So you have to make sure this guy doesn't run away, though, because he'll run away into a group of other skeletons, and then you have to deal with those skeletons. So it's better to just kill him before he can run away. And luckily for us, the whip can go through walls, so we can get him before he can even think about running away. These guys do not respawn, so you can kill them any way you like. But it's satisfying to kill him with my fists. Now the ball in question will be rolling up and down these stairs. There it is. So let's wait for it to go back up before we take out the skeleton on the right. He's right here, so just stay right here and whip him through the wall. He'll never have a chance. That's the one that runs away. Just wait for the boulder to come back. And ironic, it's Indiana Jones with a boulder. And there's the bone shard. Let's continue to use our fists for the next few enemies. This one right here, and there's a guy at the end that will be throwing pursuer urns at you, I like to call them. They'll just hone in on you. Reminds me of the spell from Dark Souls 1. Now, this next enemy does not respawn, so you can kill him any way you like. And he'll also be throwing the urns. Now, off to the right here is the Carthus Milk Ring. This is the ring that will give you a bit more dexterity, and it will obscure your rolling. Now, take care with the covered pots, because those have the pursuers as well. But this is the Carthus Milk Ring right here. Now, there is another ring later on we'll get that's called the Carthus Blood Ring. It's more dangerous to use because you take more damage, but you'll get more iframes with your rolls. Now, here is a trap. You can that little plate right there you can use to lure the enemies, but it's kind of unnecessary because this enemy will respawn. So if you use the trap, you're going to have to kill him twice. So I didn't even realize he was a respawning enemy at first. I was trying to be cheeky and use the trap. Turns out you're going to have to use your blessed weapon if you don't want him to respawn. Now these enemies will drop the vertebrae shackles from the Mound Maker's Covenant. It's an abysmal drop rate unless you have a lot of item discovery, but it's basically the best way to farm in the catacombs for that item. It takes a very long time. You definitely want all the stuff that gives you item discovery. Got another shielded enemy coming up. We'll use the good old kick riposte combination. Now these two enemies right here are the ones you're going to farm most of the time for those vertebrae shackles if you want them. Nice kick there, and he's done. If you can master your kicks, the enemies with the shields won't give you any problems. So the problem is, kicking in Dark Souls is not very easy to do. A lot of times I fail doing it, but it's a very effective strategy for these enemies with shields. I missed there. I found that it is better to lock on if you're attempting the kick. You can actually use the traps for this guy. Got lucky with the backstab there. Now, we're going to get to a bonfire, the Catacombs of Carthus bonfire. So our next objectives are to kill an NPC that's going to invade us called Night Slayer Sorig. Now, he has a ring that's going to be useful to us in our second encounter with him. It damages poise when they block. So it's going to be useful. Now, then we're going to go get the Carthus Blood Ring, which I mentioned earlier. And then we're going to go get the Grave Warden Ashes, which will allow us to buy some additional items from the Handmaiden. Now, you can employ a few tactics to take out the Night Slayer Sword. You can use the rolling ball to your advantage if you want to trap him and have him, keep getting hit by the ball. That's actually a pretty good strategy, which I didn't use, and I probably should have. So yeah, he really couldn't go anywhere if you get him stuck following you in this little stairwell here. He can really take a lot of damage from the ball. So first thing you want to do, though, is kill all the rats down here, because if you do have to retreat from your original area, which it's a very small area, and I don't recommend fighting him in this area down there, you want to take out the rats so that you don't have to deal with them and Night Slayer at the same time. Make sure to take out this mama rat, and right here is where you'll come back to, because down that way is where the Carthus Blood Ring is. But first things first, let's take the Night Slayer out. You'll have to come down here to make him spawn in. Make sure you're embered. Usually when you grab this item and try to head back, that's when he comes in. Right there. So yeah, don't fight him in this tiny little room, because he has a Fume Ultra Greatsword, and he hits really hard, guys. Like, if you get caught where he gets a combo going and he gets his jump attacks like that going, you see how much damage he'll do to you. Now, you could try to use the horse ring to kick him, but it's not very reliable, because he has a thing where he uses his weapon art and he'll get additional poise, and it's kind of nullifies the effect of the ring. So I recommend just when he puts a sword up in like a vertical fashion, and you'll see it coming up, that's when you need to go in for the attack and just keep hitting him with the double-handed R1s just like this, and you'll break through his guard, and then you can do a riposte, and that'll end him. Just keep trying to do that. Now we're going to go get the Grave Warden Ashes, because it's nearby, and then we'll get the Carthus Blood Ring. So when you come out here, this is the area forward. You want to go this way, and all the way to the end is the way forward, that last lit area. But we're not going to go there just yet. I'm going to take out this guy, and I hate these skeletons right here, guys. They float around like the damn Matrix. It's really hard to get a beat on them sometimes. So you hit them once with the whip, you can try to follow up with another one, because you don't want to have to follow them around as they're floating around the room. So that area in the back, like I said, is the way forward, but you want to come up here, this other lit area, and when you want to get to the top of the stairs, you turn around and go to the back wall, and that's where the Grave Warden Ashes are. And unfortunately, you got another one of these assholes guarding the way. And as you can see, they're very hard to hit after when they float around and jump around with those dagger. They throw the daggers at you and they just float around. It can be kind of hard to hit. As you can see, I'm just struggling to hit this guy. But I recommend if you just go in with the whip really hard and fast and just keep hitting them, after you hit them once, they can be stun locked. Now we're going to go get the Carthus Blood Ring. And of course, we've got to fight another one of these guys. I'm just going to double hand the whip this time. Use your strongest whip attacks against these guys. If you have time to charge it, do so. Now we got to make our way back to where the mama rat was. And we'll get to face an old enemy, the bone wheel skeletons. Now, fret not. The bone wheel skeletons in this game have been severely nerfed. They don't have much tracking at all like they did in Dark Souls 1. They really, it's like they honed in on you in Dark Souls 1, but these are very easy to avoid and very easy to kill as well. I've never actually died to the bone wheel skeletons in this game. They were severely nerfed in this game, which I have no problem with. Although it would have made this area a lot more challenging. In addition, there's going to be some slugs on the ceiling that will come down at you, and it's actually one right above the item that we want, the Carthus blood ring. So we're going to make sure we knock them down off the ceiling before we get the item. But yeah, once you take out the last bone wheel skeleton, it's a good idea to get your bandit knife out to take care of the slugs because they're weak to fire. But we do want to shoot the ones off the ceiling as well, as they're going to start falling off the ceiling. Right there. So just get the knife out and do them in. And just want to shoot the rest of them. There's a couple more. One right there just above the item, and there's another one. Now, if you're good at rolling, you can get some additional iframes by using this ring. However, you do so at a risk because you'll take more damage. Now we are going to go ahead and continue the way forward. We've pretty much got all the items that are important in the catacombs for the time being. We will talk to Henri yet again. I want to make sure we talk to her before we go into the Smouldering Lake. And then we'll kill her companion Horus later, once we get to the Smouldering Lake. Now this crystal lizard kind of glitched for me through the wall, but you'll still get the item. It's nothing important, it's just a fire gem, which we're not even going to use. Because we're even going to ascend our bandit knife to a chaos bandit knife later. We need the coal though, which is tucked away in Anne Orlando, so it'll be a while before we get that. Now, take care here, because there are a buttload of skeletons that are going to spawn. A ton of them, so we're just going to run through this area quickly, and we're just going to check our 6 to make sure none of the skeletons are following us before we talk to Henri. Usually 1 or 2 are going to follow you. So past the bridge, don't go on the bridge. You want to go up this path right here, kind of hidden, and talk to Henri. Again, you have not seen Horus, you only have one option to say no. But yeah, check your 6 for that skeleton that might follow you. Now we're just going to roll off onto this path down here. Now we're going to cut the bridge down and go down the bridge, a la Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And it's funny, if the skeletons actually do try to follow you on the bridge and you cut the bridge down, they're all going to go to their death, which is kind of funny to watch. Now, let's put on some fire damage, because we're going to fight the fire demon, and we're going to get the soul from the fire demon, which will allow us to get our weapon that we need, called the Demon Fist. I think it's actually the funnest weapon in Dark Souls 3, to be honest. It's got an awesome moveset, just like the Bone Fist did in Dark Souls 2. This weapon has an amazing moveset, and it scales actually, so it's not like any other fire weapon. It scales with faith and intelligence and strength. So this is a mimic right here. You have an option here. You can make the mimic fight the demon if you want, and we're going to try to do that, but most of the time the demon is going to kill him, but just hit him once to aggro him, and then once the fire hits the mimic, he's going to aggro onto the demon, so you can just kind of sit back and shoot the demon from afar, which I do recommend. Now we're going to pop some red bug pellets to help us with some additional fire damage, and we're just going to keep firing. Now I should have went right here, but instead I went left and ran out of real estate. and the fire just knocked me off the ledge here. But if you just go right and just kind of keep strafing back and forth, you won't even have to deal with this guy at close range. You see, actually, I made a mistake by going left and just he knocked me off. But he'll be a little bit damaged from the mimic and you shooting him, so he's almost dead already. We're just gonna finish him off with the whip. Just try to get behind. If you do have to fight him at close range, just get behind him and use your whip, or you Chaos Blade, whatever one you want. He does that AoE attack though, which is kind of annoying. And we'll get the Soul of the Demon, which we will use to get our weapon, the Demon Fist. Now, make sure you switch to your Cestus because these are skeletons that have the white eyes and they're going to spawn, and there's a lot of them down here. So if you just start killing them and thinking they're dead, they're not, and you're just going to keep respawning. So with our Blessed Cestus, we're just going to take them out one time and one time only. This area can be kind of a pain. It's mostly recommended to just run to the next bonfire, which is in the next room. But something satisfying about killing skeletons with my fists that I quite enjoy. Now, the area coming up is the Smouldering Lake. A lot of good items in this area. Now here, you'll get the Old Sage's Blindfold and the Witch's Ring. The Witch's Ring increases pyromancies, and the Blindfold is what your pyromancer merchant has on him. Part of his wardrobe. And you'll get the rest of his wardrobe once we kill the Demon King coming up. But we'll do that in the next episode. But this is the Smouldering Lake. Now, the problem with the Smouldering Lake is it has a couple of threats. The first thing you're going to notice is there's a ballista that keeps firing at you in threes. It fires 3 shots and it just never stops until you shut it off. There's nobody operating it, it's just on auto shoot, so it's automatically going to be shooting at you. So after the 3rd shot you hear, run to the tree and take cover. And the second threat you have is the worm, but we're going to use one of the threats to kill the other. So just like anybody else that's done in this game, you're going to use the ballista to kill the worm. So we're just going to run to the next tree and wait for the 3 shots and then run to the next section. We want to get to a specific area, and to get this is the Shield of Want. You'll definitely want that for your farming. It gives you additional souls that you can stack with the Symbol of Avarice and the Silver Covetous Ring plus 3. You'll be swimming in souls. So what you want to do is come over here and use a gesture, or just stay behind the rock. But since we've unlocked the Path of the Dragon gesture, and we need to put it in our heart bar anyway, we're just going to go ahead and use it. Now I'm going to do a quick edit here because it takes about 1.5 minutes for this thing to die. So you'll get an undead bone shard and a spell for your patience. And there it is. Now we're going to go to the bonfire, and that's going to be the episode. Now there to the left is the boss. We are not going to that until we explore the entirety of Demon Ruins and get all the items we want from there. And then we have to make sure, when we do that boss fight next episode, we have to make sure that our NPC does not die, because we will not get the Spotted Whip unless they live. So this is the entrance to Demon Ruins, but we're not going to take this entrance. There's nothing of importance except a couple of embers, which we can bypass. Not going to worry about getting just a few embers. We're going to make it easier for ourselves by going into the shortcut area. But that'll be next episode. We're going to go ahead and use our undead bone shards. We got 2 of them in this little run we did. So let's go ahead and burn those. I always seem to forget about burning them. And this is going to help us a lot when we get to the DLC. It's going to make the DLC a lot easier, trust me. The more potent our Estus Flask is, the better. And we're going to go ahead and level up again. And we're going to work on dexterity. We want to get dexterity as high as we can before entering the DLC. I like to have it at like 45, 46 before going into the Ashes of Ariandel. We may not get that high, but we are going to get over 40. And we're going to pop an additional soul here because I didn't have quite enough to level up. But we're going to get our dex to 41. And that'll be it. Now, in the next episode, guys, we're going to complete the Smouldering Lake and Demon Ruins. We're going to kill the Demon King. And then we're going to kill the boss of the Catacombs. And then we're going to enter the Irithel of the Boreal Valley. But we're not going to complete it. We're just going to get the excrement ashes from the sewers. And then we're just going to go straight into the DLC from there. Alright, that's it for this episode, guys. I'll see you guys in part 7.